Hey, thank you for coming to Two Tales. I am Anthony, your host, and this little thing is something I showcased just the other day. Looks like I got a little ding in the screen already. That's unfortunate. Um, my wife picked this up for me on our date day. Got it at a Barnes and Noble. It was about $22. I'll say it's 25, kind of round up there. And I wanted to showcase this because now that I have it open, for a little arcade cabinet mini, this has a whole lot of charm for its price. Now, of course, if you're a Tetris fan, I recommend this. If you collect these little cabinets, I'd recommend it for the $22. It's not bad. First, listen to this. That's right. You get the sound of the quarter there. Now, it levels from level 1 to level 15. Obviously, every 10 lines, the level goes up. It gets faster as you go. And then with that being said, you can kind of go to like Game Boy mode B, so to speak, by adding height to it and go up to 15 lines up. It's kind of a high scored style challenge. And you get bonus points for doing the rapid drop and for holding down, or should I say the instant drop, and that was bad aim on my part. Anyway, so the music is fairly authentic in regards to it being the classic Tetris music. You don't have any of the alternate soundtracks from like the Game Boy, which is really what I'm basing it on. And I'm going to try and blow through the 15 levels real quick. And while I'm at it, for filler, we will briefly discuss the state of the channel and what's going on next, in case you guys missed an update video that I did a little while back. But so some differences between this and the classic Game Boy version that I am most familiar with, because I'm an old school Game Boy fan, or excuse me, old school Tetris fan. And my very first Tetris game was actually not the one on the Nintendo console, but was the one on the regular Game Boy. My family ultimately wound up getting both, and most of my family preferred the Nintendo version, but I spent most of my time playing this on the Game Boy. Now, if you're up against the wall or in a tight quarter, you are not able to rotate the Tetris Mini, right? So if it's against the wall in this one, you're kind of stuck. So you got to kind of move it out. It doesn't do that little close quarters rotational thing that you could exploit in the other games. That's not really that big of an issue. On top of that, you can't really see it too well because of the angle, but in case you can't see it, the stylized little computerized graphics back there actually have a grid that they follow along, and that grid helps me identify where I want to put these things. But all in all, for $22, this is quite the win in my book. I would highly recommend it. So while I'm playing this, allow me to go over some additional information in case you missed the updates for the channel. The channel will be going through a change very, very closely, or excuse me, very, very soon. As I have mentioned when I first started the channel and was talking about, the Amico, I had a specific number of videos that I wanted to do because it was kind of a springboard or run up to the actual aspects for the channel. And the actual aspects of the channel were always meant for storytelling and doing adventures through kind of like, in this case, adventures through video games, but it's actually adventures through projects, basically tackling something I've never done before. The first project was announced a while ago, which is to design or develop a video game, which is something I've always wanted to do and have never actually done. So we'll be getting to that. And the reason to talk about changing the channel is originally I was going to document it as I went along and invite everyone to come along with me. Well, in the few months that I've been doing this, I learned a thing or two about copyright law in video games and how it works. And yeah, it's actually a pretty muddled mess. That's why people get paid being specialists, I guess. But it would actually be safer for my concept to play it close to the vest, so to speak, and not just put it out there for display. So there's a group of people that have offered to be kind of like focus testers or, critics, and give me feedback and watch and document along with me how everything's going. And the goal is that once the project is actually done, be it success or failure, whatever I decide it is at any given point, there we go. I will then package everything up and put it out as kind of like a documentary of the adventure and what I learned from it. And then hopefully everyone else can learn something and maybe find something to entertain themselves. But that's that. So in the meantime, I will be going back to the channel's first love, which is storytelling. We already have a story in progress. It's called Course. It is a science fiction post-apocalyptic story. The prologue is up and available in the playlist of the channel called Tail Spinning. Something I forgot to mention about this thing. I can't remember specifically from the original game because I can't say ever at the time as a child I ever paid too much attention to it. But in this particular game, if you're going for high scores, if you can set it up and do the Tetrises back to back, it increases your score as you go. So it pays to gamble on trying to build big in this little version. So anyway, as I was saying, the channel is going to go back to its first love, which is storytelling. The prologue is up. Now, there's been some technical setbacks with Chapter 1, Part 1. And the reason it's Chapter 1, Part 1 is because Two Tales is actually designed to be pseudo-interactive with you, the listener. And periodically throughout the story, I'll be offering multiple choice polls to allow you guys to choose this or that and potentially write in an idea and actually directly affect the direction and the outcome of the story. I was always a big fan of choose your own adventure books as a kid and realized that it would be a great way to entertain people. All right, so I'm going to try and pick up the pace here and make a little bit of a better time. So Cores itself, the general concept is that mankind basically faced or humankind, if you're particular about that terminology, faced a near global extinction. Ultimately, a small handful of options were discovered or settled on that has sort of, in its own way, saved the human race, but not without its consequences. And a great deal of time has passed since then, and humankind is starting to stretch its legs in an adventure into the world for the first time after many, many years have passed. On one side, you have the group that was... Here we go. Yeah, talking and playing is never a strong suit for me. On one hand, you have the core society that is saved by a new and experimental technology, an artificial material that is both synthetic and organic in a manner that allows it to be kind of groomed and grown. And as such, they preserve the human race through this new material. Well, some people did not like the idea of saving humanity at the cost of what technically defined us as human, and they found an alternate way. And then, of course, the third group wound up being faced with an unfortunate event that was unexpected because it was kind of a now or never situation. And I don't really want to spoil it for you. I'd like you to go and check out the prologue story. But as the story ultimately moves forward, what we have is a young core, which is basically kind of like the new human. The core's name is Bastion, and he's quite the prodigy. And he's given a very special task, which is to go into the world and document and find out how the world has changed in the aftermath of the cataclysmic event. And in the process of going about this adventure, he learns that what he knows of society and the world is not as perfect as he was allowed to believe. You know, there's a much deeper and darker side to things, and it's his adventure on how he ultimately deals with that and works with the various people that he encounters. And of course, all of that is directly influenced and directed by you, the listener. So I would encourage you to check that out because the next chapter, if everything runs smoothly, will be going up relatively soon. It's mostly already written, and as I said, I had some technical issues both with resources, time, and actually losing my original notes and scripting for it for the better part of a month, unfortunately. And it wound up, my son apparently was a fan of the story, and he took the entire notebook and hid it in his dresser, which was flattering. The truth of the matter is, I think he actually just wanted to play tic-tac-toe in it. There we go. All right, so down to 19 lines, almost done. Mm. And game. All right. Thanks for checking out this little thing. Again, I got this at Barnes & Noble for about $22 as a gift from my wife. If you're a Tetris lover, I highly recommend it. Thanks for hearing about the changes to the channel that'll be up and coming very, very soon. I got one last official post, but like I said months ago that my coverage for the Amico was set for a planned number of videos, and I'm actually at the tail end of that, and I appreciate anyone that's been along for the entire ride. It's been an adventure in its own right. All the best, people.